The dark web. I mean, just the name itself conjures up all these images of some hidden, mysterious digital world, right? But here's the thing. Beyond all the hype, it's also a space for some really vital stuff. Think journalists trying to get stories out of repressive countries or privacy groups. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a clear, secure guide to checking it out, all based on expert advice.
So let's just dive right in. What is this hidden corner of the internet, really? And how is it actually different from the web you and I use every single day?
All right, first things first, we've got to separate what's real from what's just, movie hype. Let's get a really clear picture of what we're actually talking about when we say the hidden internet.
At its most basic level, the dark web is simply a part of the internet that your standard search engines, Google, Bing, you name it, can't see. They don't index it. You can't just stumble upon it by accident. You need specific software just to open the door, because it's designed from the ground up to be hidden.
And you can tell pretty quickly that you are in a different part of the digital world. Instead of the usual .com or .org you see everywhere, websites on the dark web have these unique addresses that end in .onion.
Here's the easiest way to think about it. The surface web, everything you use daily, is like a giant public library. It's all indexed, it's easy to search. The dark web, on the other hand, is like a locked, unmarked room in the basement of that library. It's not in the card catalog, and you need a very special key just to get inside.
Okay, so if you need special tools, what are they? That brings us to our next section, your security toolkit. I want you to think of this as building a layered digital shield to protect yourself before you even think about exploring.
We're going to look at 3 absolutely essential layers of protection. Each one builds on the last, creating a really solid security system. We'll start with the Tor browser, then we'll add a VPN for another layer, and for those who want maximum security, we'll talk about an entire operating system called Tails.
So let's start with the absolute cornerstone of dark web access. This is the non-negotiable first step for anyone who wants to explore safely, the Tor browser.
So how does Tor actually work? It's pretty brilliant, actually. It takes your internet connection and bounces it through a series of volunteer-run servers all over the world. This makes it incredibly difficult for anyone to trace your activity back to you, which protects your identity and your location. On top of that, it comes with built-in features that automatically block trackers and other malicious scripts.
But Tor isn't the only tool in the box. For an extra layer of security, and I really mean extra, many experts recommend adding a VPN. This helps build an even stronger wall around your online activity.
You might be asking, why add a VPN if Tor already makes me anonymous? Well, here's the key. While Tor anonymizes you within its network, a VPN encrypts your traffic before it even gets to Tor. This means your own internet service provider, your cable company, can't even tell you're using Tor. It's a really powerful double layer of protection.
And finally, for those of you seeking the absolute ultimate in privacy and security, there's the third layer, an entire operating system called Tails. Now, Tails is something else. It doesn't even install on your computer. You run it completely from a USB stick. The moment you shut it down and pull out that drive, it leaves absolutely zero trace of your session on the machine. It's what's called an amnesiac system. It literally forgets everything. And of course, it comes prepackaged with Tor and a whole suite of other privacy tools.
So, you've built your digital shield, but how do you actually find anything? Well, navigating this space is way different from your typical web surfing. You'll find a whole mix of content, from censored news archives and political forums to some pretty unsavory marketplaces. The key is knowing how to search safely.
Yeah, you can't just Google something on the dark web. You need to use specialized search engines designed to index those .onion sites. Tools like Amia, or even a privacy-focused version of DuckDuckGo on Tor, are built specifically for this, helping you find content without giving up your anonymity.
Now, let's say you decide to interact with anyone, maybe on a forum or something like that. This is where protecting your communication becomes absolutely critical. 2 key tools here are PGP and Secure Email. PGP, which stands for Pretty Good Privacy, is like putting your message in a digital safe that only the person you send it to has the key for. It makes sure no one else can read your messages. Combine that with a secure email service like Proton Mail, and you've got yourself some serious end-to-end encryption. But, having the right tools is only half the battle. Your behavior is the other half. So, let's go over the non-negotiable rules of exploration. Think of this as your pre-flight checklist. First, and this should be obvious, steer clear of any and all illegal activity. Next, always keep your tools, Tor, your VPN, updated. For extra safety, you can use a sandboxed environment, like a virtual machine, which is kind of like a computer within your computer that keeps any threats totally isolated. And finally, the golden rule is to never ever share any personal information. No real names, no addresses, no financial details. Nothing that can be traced back to you in the real world. Anonymity is your greatest protection.
So following that golden rule and everything else we've talked about, it really just boils down to 3 key principles: knowledge, preparation, and caution.
When you combine the right knowledge of what the dark web is, you prepare with the right tools, and you navigate with caution, well, you transform it. It stops being this menacing, unknown place and becomes a space that you can in fact explore securely.
You know, the dark web, like any part of the internet, is fundamentally just a tool. So the real question is, when you're armed with the right knowledge and you're taking the right precautions, can that tool become more than just its negative reputation? Something to think about.